Hey there! If you're trying to learn English and you're tired of boring lessons, you're in the right place. Here, we turn real-life adventures into language lessons you'll actually enjoy. You'll hear wild, strange, or funny stories, and your brain will pick up grammar and vocabulary naturally, without effort. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and hit that like button so you never miss a new story. We've got new ones coming out every single day. Washington, D.C. was not what Ethan expected. He thought it would be quiet, formal, and maybe even a little boring. But from the moment he stepped off the train, he felt the energy of the city. People moved quickly. Cars honked nonstop. And the buildings, those historic, powerful structures, made him feel small and excited at the same time. He had planned this trip for months. He wasn't usually a planner, but visiting the White House was something he didn't want to mess up. He had signed up online, received all the instructions, printed the confirmation, and brought his passport. The night before the tour, he barely slept. He kept checking his bag to make sure everything was still there. He imagined security lines, metal detectors, and official-looking agents staring at him like he didn't belong. But that morning, the sky was clear, and his nervousness slowly faded. He showed up early, way too early. He stood near the security gate, holding his papers, looking around as tourists began to gather. Some were with families, some were in groups. Ethan was alone, but that was okay. He liked traveling solo. It gave him the freedom to do things his way. The tour started with a long line outside. A woman in a uniform gave instructions, mostly about what not to do. No bags, no food, no photography in certain areas. Everyone nodded. The group moved forward slowly, going through checkpoints. The guards checked IDs, looked serious, and then gave small nods when everything was fine. Ethan passed the final checkpoint and stepped into the White House. It felt surreal. The place looked exactly like the pictures, but also very different. More quiet, more polished. The floors shined like they had been cleaned 5 times that morning. The ceilings were high and decorated with lights he'd only seen in movies. He moved with the group, listening to the tour guide who spoke in a clear, rehearsed voice. She pointed at paintings and told short stories about presidents and events that had happened in each room. Ethan tried to pay attention, but his eyes were everywhere. He didn't want to miss anything. There was something strange about walking through rooms where world-changing decisions had been made. Rooms where powerful people had sat, argued, and changed history. It gave him goosebumps. But then, something happened. They entered a hallway. The guide pointed at a portrait and started explaining. Ethan, standing near the back of the group, looked to his right and noticed a door. It was plain, white, with a small golden handle. Nothing special, but it wasn't roped off. No sign, no lock, just a door, slightly open. He didn't even think. He thought it was part of the tour, maybe another room, maybe something the guide had forgotten to mention. So, he reached out and pushed the door. It opened. Completely. He stepped in. It took about 2 seconds for him to realize something wasn't right. The room was empty. No furniture. No paintings. Just clean white walls, a shiny floor, and a faint humming sound from the ceiling. Before he could step further, he heard a click behind him. The door. It had closed. Panic arrived immediately. He turned around and pulled the handle. Locked. His stomach dropped. What had he done? He looked around. No windows. No second door. Just silence and that quiet mechanical hum above him. He pressed his ear to the door. Nothing. No voices. No footsteps. He knocked. Lightly at first. Then harder. Still nothing. Now his mind was racing. Had he just walked into a restricted area of the White House? Were they watching him right now through hidden cameras? Were they calling security? Would this turn into a news story? Young man arrested for wandering into White House room without permission. He sat down on the cold floor and tried to stay calm. Minutes passed. Then a voice came from somewhere above. A small speaker in the ceiling crackled. "Please stay where you are. Someone will be with you shortly." The voice was calm, professional, and somehow more terrifying than silence. He waited. His heart beat in his throat. Then the door opened again. 2 men stood outside. Suits. Earpieces. No smiles. "Come with us," one of them said. Ethan followed. No questions asked. They walked through a narrow corridor, then down a flight of stairs, then into a small room with a long table and 2 chairs. One of the men asked for his ID and tour confirmation. The other sat down and began asking questions. "Why did you open that door? What did you think was inside? Did anyone tell you to go there?" Ethan answered honestly. He explained everything. That it was an accident. That he thought it was part of the tour. That there was no sign or rope. They listened. Then they stood up. "Please wait here," one said. Ethan waited. Again. He had never felt so stupid in his life. Eventually they returned. One of them smiled a little. "You're free to go," he said. "We've confirmed everything." Then he added, "And next time, stick with the group." They walked him back to the tour route. The guide looked surprised but didn't say anything. Ethan joined the group like nothing had happened. The rest of the tour was a blur. He couldn't focus anymore. Every room looked the same. Every word the guide said floated past his ears like background noise. When the tour ended, he stepped outside, blinking in the bright sunlight. He walked a few blocks, sat on a bench, and laughed. Not a big laugh, just a quiet, "I can't believe that just happened" kind of laugh. He could have gotten in serious trouble. He could have been banned. He could have ended up on the news. But instead, he got a weird memory that no one would believe. Later that night, he texted a friend and said, "I got locked inside a room at the White House." His friend replied, "Liar." He smiled and put his phone away. Travel had always been about adventure for him. But this was a little more than he bargained for. Still, he wouldn't trade it for anything. If you followed this story until the end, you just picked up dozens of real English phrases and natural sentence structures. You didn't even notice it, but your brain did. And that's why learning through stories works. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share if you want more stories like this. We upload one every day. And in the comments, tell us, Have you ever opened the wrong door and instantly regretted it? Let's hear your wild stories.